The issue of free will and grace, and I guess determinism as well. Everything in form is lawfully related to everything in form. There are laws. They're necessarily laws that are understandable by the human intellect. That is, they're not human-made laws. They are laws in the same way as the Tao or the Chinese book of the Way describes the law or the way of things. So that everything in form is law, like this body is decaying in a lawful way. The way I raised my hand is lawful in the sense that I did it in relation to certain thoughts, certain history, certain chemistry of my hand, your consciousness. If you put it all together and could do it complexly enough in terms of a complex enough situation, understanding, you would understand why my hand raised just that way. If you studied my mother's and my father's hands, I mean, you'd have to do a lot to understand that any particular discrete act is so complexly determined, and yet it is still lawful. So that all form is within law, and karma is part of that law. So to the extent that you identify what you are as form, there is no free will. It is just law unfolding. It is the laws of karma unfolding. However, who you are is not form. That's what the whole spiritual dimension of the universe is about. But for you to acknowledge that part of you that is not form, since you can't see it, smell it, taste it, touch it, or even think about it, since thinking takes an object and you aren't an object, how do you know? You don't know. You can only be it. So what our whole job is here is extricating oneself from the identification with form. What is left when you do that? You are. What you are at that point is free. When you have done that, you realize you don't realize you are that which is. There's only one of it. So then you would say that is God. And then you would say God is free. So I would say you are free, but you are busy not thinking you are free. You are busy imprisoning yourself in your own mind and thinking you are not free. To the extent you think you are a separate entity, you are your personality or your body, you are merely a set of laws unfolding. You have the illusion of free will, but you are not free. Your thinking mind is never free. Your thinking mind is stuff that is happening lawfully. You're not thinking out of the void. You're thinking out of law. But who you are is behind all that. Now the question of grace is a relationship. It's a relational concept between that which is free and that which is form, or planes of consciousness, you might say. It's a relationship between the two. And my sense is that grace is always available, but it's our karma as to whether or not we acknowledge it or receive it. So the relationship between karma and grace is a very delicate issue. I mean, whether my guru pulled me to him, by doing that, he was free to do that because he was not identified with his body, and he just used the body. That's different. But whether or not that grace does come out of free will, but whether when you have free will you would override karma or not is an interesting issue. When Christ said, "Had ye but faith, ye could move mountains," that means, had ye but faith in the Spirit, you would be free of form, you would be free. Were you free, you could manipulate the universe the way you wanted to, you could move the mountains. The predicament that he doesn't point out is, were you that free, you would understand why you put the mountain there in the first place. And then why would you move it? And that's one of the interesting issues about recognizing there are beings in the universe who are free, who could change the nature of things, and they don't. And it forces you to wonder if they are fully compassionate beings, which I understand them to be. Could they understand something about our suffering that we don't understand that allows them to not intervene in our suffering out of compassion? Could they understand the laws of karma from compassion? And that stretches one right to the edge. Can you hear all these things?